Let's say the foundation is stone brick for now. The ground is just grey. I guess it's not just warships. I was saying the Mediterranean built a lot of warships, but even trading ships. Just a lot of ships. Throughout the history of the Mediterranean, because it is water, right? People chop down trees to build ships. And eventually they just ran out of trees. Because it's kind of remarkable. The amount of stone architecture in ancient Greece, ancient Rome. Because people usually don't actually build out of stone if they can avoid it. Because stone is just more difficult to work with, right? And by remarkable, I mean if you compare it to East Asia, for example, East Asia there's a lot of timber architecture, right? Like Chinese palaces, Japanese castles and palaces, and even in like Southeast Asia. India, interestingly, has a lot of stone architecture, but maybe India also has deforestation problems because of population density. And they're like on the wrong side of the Himalayas. By wrong, I mean the wind goes from the east to the west, and so there's rain on this side, and less so on what's this side? There's more rain on the Chinese side than the Indian side. So the snow would fall on top of the Himalayas. They'll pack into glaciers. The glaciers will melt, and that becomes some of the big rivers that go on both sides, on the Indian side and the Chinese side of the Himalayas. But there's more rainfall basically over on the Chinese side. I mean, there's rainfall on the Indian side too. India has monsoons, but they also have a much bigger population, a much more denser population than China. Huh. Not that many big trees, but also maybe it's more tropical and the trees are less suitable. Also have to keep in mind that in China, the places where the palaces are built out of timber is not necessarily the same place as where the trees are chopped down, right? The Chinese built big canals, which then allows the logs to be transported from the south to the north. So for example, the Forbidden City in Beijing is built in timber, in wood, But you have these like massive logs forming the columns of the palace buildings. And there's no trees that big anywhere near Beijing. So what happened was the emperor would get trees chopped down in South China, and they would like drag these logs, and they would like ship these logs all the way to the north. And then they use these massive trees to build a palace in the north. And China could do that because, you know, the whole China is under the same government. What am I doing? So I guess underneath this, it's gonna be snow. So the Chinese emperor could do that. And the thing with logs is that in a more tropical climate, they decay faster. Because if there's more moisture and more heat, they rot faster, right? So in the cold north, the cold dry north in Beijing, the timber palace would preserve better than if you built the same thing further south in a more humid place. So there's that consideration as well. So like in India, in Southeast Asia, there are timber buildings, but you wouldn't expect them to last that long. Just because they rot in the local climate. Let's see, stone bricks. And termites. Termites. Your building actually, like, literally gets eaten. Your palaces literally get eaten. So the ancient Greeks, they used to paint their buildings all sorts of colors. I wonder if I can find the colors. Ancient Greek temple colors. Interesting. So like examining them today, you can find like pigment traces in the cracks in the stone. So you can kind of figure out what colors they used to be. Fascinating. Reds. Reds, yellows, less so blues. It's like the scrolls on the column capitals would be like outlined in red. And they'd be like, the Corinthian columns, the leaves will be blue on one side, blue on the underside, red on the upper side. Fascinating. Can I show you? Oh, there it is. That's Rome, though, isn't it? So this picture is Rome. Oh, look at the paint on that. So intricately painted. I guess they could afford it. Alright, so reds. Interesting. The columns were yellowish. Blue and red, blue and red, blue and red. What does that look like? Yep, blue. Oh, so about the timber origins of these shapes. So the columns will be tree trunks, and these rectangular things, they'd be the ends of the beams. Like, so the roof had beams holding it up. So the timber beams will go across, and these would be the timber beams. And you'll notice that they line up with the columns, right? So you have column and beams, the columns holding up the beams, and then you have like rafters across there as well. So that's what that's supposed to be. So you have column, beam across this way, and then beam across the other way. Fascinating, right? So the column capitals, blue, red and yellow there, red there, reddish patterns, blues right, and then red and yellow. So yellow on red background, blues. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. And I guess I want to try a similar thing. I don't have yellows though. There's no yellows. There's sandstone. Don't want to use sandstone though. How is this gonna redo the whole city in Roman style? No, just gonna do a little bit here. Or we can just build a whole new Roman city. We can build Rome! We can build whole of we can just recreate Rome, Harbour. Let's just, cross the river and build Rome over there. Kamen Rider says bamboo is a pretty similar yellow. I... How is this one-to-one scale? I mean, that'd be amazing. I'm not gonna copy the Greeks and the Romans exactly, Kamen Rider. I'm gonna stick to the stones. How is this? And then Athens, the correct distance away. Yeah! I'm gonna stick to stones, so I'm just gonna use, those as inspiration, and not copy them exactly. How much time do I have? Oh, not much actually. 3 minutes? So like column capitals? How is this not planning to ever finish with this world, are you? No. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna. There's no plan to finish it, however. Just gonna build more and more stuff. Unless something comes up, right? Unless something unexpected happens. Ah. Let's see. So I don't have red, but there's the granite, right? So maybe there's like the column base is like granite, and then we have I'm gonna use the quartz, right? I'm gonna use quartz columns. Quartz pillars. Camera, this is thanks for the stream. Interesting talking points today. Thanks for watching, Carmen. Let me just like try out a little bit in the next few minutes. So like if we say the column bases are red, $15, and then red again. I mean, it's not the same, right? But that's too tall. That's a little bit much. The proportions are a bit strange. Or maybe it isn't a bit much. Hold on, let me just... Maybe I should like reduce this by a little bit. It's a bit tall. It's gonna be... Proportions are a bit wrong. So 10 would be 2/3. Maybe it's more like 10. Let me step back further. But sometimes too tall is just right. Hey, you know what? That's fine. That's actually fine. Let's make it too tall. Let's make it so that you walk up to it and you look at it and you're like, this seems a little too tall. Okay. Let me end the stream here for today. And I guess next week I'm gonna try and figure out the Tholos with the colors. We have granite for red, we have lapis for blue. I don't have enough lapis though, I have a little bit of lapis, so we have to use that sparingly. And then everything else, we can have shades of gray. We have like black stone, deep slate, stone. What else did I bring? Let me just make sure I know what... Deep slate, black stone. The blue will have to be highlights only. Stone, quartz, deep slate. Yeah, so like maybe 3 shades of gray. I think the quartz will only be the columns, and then the granite and lapis highlights is the plan. Alright, let me end this here. I'll see you next week. And let's not make it too complicated. Let's just keep it relatively simple. Alright, see ya.